Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Okay, so Luminate has put out their Film and TV 2024 year-end report. It kind of shows you overall how things are doing. You can track different things. It's very interesting to just kind of delve into and hunt around if you're curious how things did, especially in the streaming world.
Yeah, Illuminate tracks that sort of thing. They're one of the kind of like Nielsen where they track ratings and things like that. So
What is interesting to note is how Disney Plus did, because they have a nice little easy to understand chart that shows you the Disney Plus top 10 TV shows of 2024. Now this comes from December 29th, 2023 to December 31st, 2024.
okay, so Skeleton Crew kind of gets
They weren't finished, yes.
cut in half.
So it's interesting to see this top 10 list. Number 1 for Disney Plus surprised me. It's Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
So
I mean, that was a really successful book franchise and the movie wasn't as good as the book franchise.
I've never read the books.
I've
seen. Wasn't there like a couple movies, or am I crazy, or was there only one?
There was one.
Oh, okay.
They just did The Lightning Thief, which is the first book.
Okay.
It actually had released December 20th, 2023. So that's this chart is like skipping the first episode.
Ooh. And that beat everything Star Wars.
Yeah. It has one season. It was season 1, and it was, for the minutes watched, in millions, 3.07.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 3 billion, yeah.
A lot of minutes watched on that.
So people loved that.
Yeah.
Is it good? I'm curious, people
I've
out there
actually
who
never
have seen it and read the
read
books, maybe,
Percy
if this is
Jackson.
something that was like true to the books and really enjoyable or something.
I've heard it's supposed to be a truer rendition to the books than the first movie was, but it was watched, it was loved, so yeah.
So it beat Star Wars and Marvel.
Entirely.
Percy Jackson and the king of Disney Plus.
All right, number 2 is The Acolyte.
Okay, that isn't really a surprise, I don't think.
It was at 2.6.
2.6 billion, okay, combined.
Yes. Next, number 3 went to Marvel with Agatha All Along, which surprised me that it got a lot of views. It was actually entertaining.
Is there a ton of stuff that came out this year, though? I mean,
there's a
honestly
good portion of things on this list, but
okay.
You're gonna like this list. This list is very entertaining. Number 4 is Echo.
Okay.
Echo wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either.
It was...
Kingpin was really the star of the show. They should have called it Kingpin.
It was decidedly mediocre.
And that was at 1.5, so there's a steep drop-off from the 2.2 on Agatha to the 1.5 on Echo.
Yeah, or what Percy Jackson was pulling in, even missing his first couple episodes.
Oh yeah, that's half as much as Percy Jackson, literally. 3 to 1.5.
Percy Jackson and the Crushing of Echo.
Number 5 is our first animated show that makes the list. X-Men 97, 1.4.
Kind of wish that had been higher.
I think it did well, but...
For animation, I think
for
that
animation,
did really well, yeah. Because
maybe
you have
people
the
just
crowd.
didn't want to give it... I mean, it was... So many things were swirling around, surrounding, hearing before the show even came out that, well, we fired the head guy right away, didn't want him.
Yeah, that was the weird...
Yeah,
I don't know how much that impacted it.
Surprising, though, for the show.
It was really good. It was really... If you loved the old school X-Men back in the day on Fox cartoons in the 90s, you're going to love this, I think. I really enjoyed it.
All right, next on the list is The Bad Batch Season 3.
Really?
Yep, at 923.
Couldn't crack 1 billion.
It could not.
So that kind of puts animation in perspective,
than X-Men.
Though. You did significantly less than
X-Men.
I mean, not like significantly, but a fair margin there, which is interesting because we don't generally get numbers for the animated shows. So it's kind of curious to see that and divide that by 12 episodes. And you kind of get a approximation. It's getting, what, like 75, 80 million minutes an episode, which is not comparable.
But it's a lot cheaper to produce, so they're probably more okay with numbers.
Well, yeah, I don't think they're expecting it to do live action numbers, but it is curious to see that it does significantly less than the live action stuff.
Falling down to number 7 is where Skeleton Crew is.
Okay, but it only has the first...
Well, yeah, I mean, 5 episodes, right? Because it came out...
So what does it have at 5 episodes?
It has 914. So it would... if you consider the fact that it's missing 3 episodes, it would probably pass Bad Batch.
Well,
but it might not hit the numbers that X-Men 97 did.
Wow, that's actually really bad when you think about it.
Well, I think the Acolyte soured a lot of things for going into Skeleton Crew.
Sure.
I'm going to blame that a little bit.
It deserves some blame for the performance of Skeleton Crew, no doubt, but still, that's pretty abysmal if that's 5 episodes.
I mean, what's interesting is that Acolyte was like immediately canceled, but we haven't heard anything on Skeleton Crew yet.
Not
Is that
yet.
telling you that maybe how the audience reacts to something holds maybe even more sway to them.
We talked about that maybe they do listen to the audience a little bit more. And there was certainly a lot of negativity around the Acolyte and a lot of positivity around Skeleton Crew.
The rest of this list is actually really fun because number 8 is Ahsoka with 841, which came out 8/23/23.
Yeah, later last year-ish, so it kind of got some residuals. Let's just see how much you kind of get after the fact,
this
though.
list is from December 29th, 2023.
Yeah.
That's months after Ahsoka
Well, that's what I'm saying.
out.
Like that. I mean, but it's still in range, right? Ahsoka would have finished a couple months before that.
841?
That's quite a chunk. That's a lot.
It was catching up
after
to
the
Skeleton
facts.
Crew, yeah.
It was catching Skeleton Crew.
Number 9 was Mando Season 3, which came out March 1st, 2023. It had 811.
Wow. So they do get a lot of... It's not everybody just sitting down day one, and I didn't think it was, mind you, but it's not... you get a lot of after-the-fact viewers, actually.
Some people get...
Or watch it again.
And want to watch it again.
Sure.
And lastly, number 10 is The Mandalorian Season 1, which had 693. Yeah.
The whole year, though. I mean, that's pretty good, I think. I don't know. I'm not an expert in this, but that sounds solid.
Well, it might just be there's just too many things to watch, too. I mean, even on Prime Video, Season 2 of Rings of Power had apparently like a 60% decrease in total minutes watched compared to the first season. And I thought Season 2 was better than Season 1.
I mean, neither season is great, so you're kind of comparing two unfavorable things. But yeah, I would say Season 2 is better in some respects than Season 1, though they're both just murderers of the lore.
Well, and Fallout apparently did fantastic. So all the numbers apparently shy out compared to that.
I liked Fallout a lot. I don't know. I never played the games or anything, so don't know anything, but I enjoyed the show.
So I'm just curious if maybe some of this really does show you, do we have fatigue?
I think fatigue happens to a degree because new and shiny is always cool, right? You're always kind of excited.
New and shiny is cool.
Well, yeah, you're always excited to just experience something completely new, not necessarily the 30th time you visited this particular universe, but you can still enjoy that.
Absolutely.
But I think it's more there's just so much out there. You have to be exceptional to really stand out. And, well, I don't think Star Wars has been exceptional on Disney Plus, and thus, other than Andor, I always throw a little caveat.
Yes.
And Skeleton Crew is solid.
Well, and it begs the question, was Star Wars really ever designed to be on the small screen like this?
I don't think so. Yeah, I would say Star Wars is meant for the big screen, but I think it can't. I'm not saying it can't work on the smaller screen. I think the live action stuff feels like a cheaper version of the films, which is part of the problem. It doesn't have that same grandiose feeling. Well, and I think one of the reasons why animation works is because you can kind of do some really cool and interesting things and go to different places, and it just has a bigger feeling sometimes, I think, than the live action stuff.
I also think everything is so busy trying to be the next Game of Thrones, so it's tough. Everything can't be Game of Thrones. Attention is split all over the place. You really now have to figure out where your audience is and cater to them. I mean, Penguin was fantastic. They hit all the notes for a good superhero-y type feel. Without,
well, not really a superhero feel.
Well, you know what I'm saying, though. They kept it true to Gotham, and a lot of comic sources were pulled into it.
Well, sure. It felt like a nice homage to DC and the comics and all that without being like a superhero story. Obviously, it's not because Batman isn't even in it.
They handled everything really, really well. And Star Wars hasn't been treated with that same reverence, not like when Tony Gilroy was handling season 1 of Andor, obviously.
Yeah, I just don't think they know what to do with it in general, but especially on Disney Plus. Like, what do you go for? Because Andor works. Andor was a great show, but I don't know. I love it, but I don't think it's like the greatest Star Wars thing necessarily. Like Star Warsy, like you're not getting the lightsabers and Jedi and Sith and all that. It's a fantastic show. Fits beautifully into Star Wars, but it's not like a Star Wars spectacle, if that makes any sense.
Well, and then what do you do? Do you want multi-season shows? Do you want these long form, look, I'm going to have 30 seasons of The Mandalorian, or do you want to tell limited stories so that people have a beginning, middle, and end to things? It's those tough decisions. I think more things have to start knowing that there is an end. Because the audience these days, we're a lot more fickle. We
got more choices.
We have more choices than ever before. Because you're doing things on Amazon Prime and Apple TV that just blow me out of the water, that I don't even need to go to a movie theater anymore.
Well, no,
I'm happy with
my
streaming options.
You have to stand out from the crowd. It's not like the 80s when most people don't even have cable TV and you're sitting at home. You got like 4 channels. Like you got very limited options now. If you don't like something, you just go to a
Click.
different streaming
Yeah.
service and they have hundreds and thousands of options.
I'll
and,
find something.
Yeah, you're always going to be able to find something else. You can't just switch between 4 channels anymore, or you don't have to, I should say.
Right. So the streaming services, being ultra competitive, they need to make sure, I think, when they start up a project that they have plans to finish the project. Because if your streaming service is constantly known for dropping titles, and I'm never going to get to know
piss
endings,
people off.
I'm not going to stay with
Yeah.
you. I want to know the whole story. So either plan out that you're a limited series, or plan out and say and commit to how many seasons you're going to do. Because I know Netflix cancels a lot of stuff, and it makes me really frustrated.
Well, I think speaking of like old school TV, they used to do those like mini-series events, like 5 episodes. And, a lot of times it'd be all at once in 1 week. Or I think it's something like V, or V the Final Battle, for those who are old enough to remember that, before they remade it or whatever, a few years back, or 15 years back, whatever it is. But you just had like a self-contained story that was like 3 or 4 parts long. And I think that's what they should try to look at. Just
Maybe.
making something that's a little, kind of like a movie, but a little longer and in like 3 parts or 4 parts.
Like when Sci-Fi Channel did the Frank Herbert's Dune.
Yeah, exactly.
They did like 3 parts of it and aired it on TV. They did the same when they did Earthsea.
I didn't see Earthsea, but
I think I actually have it on DVD.
Oof, DVD.
Well, I bought
At
it
least
back
it's
when it was on
VHS.
DVD.
Yeah.
Same with my copy of Sci-Fi Channel Dune and Children of Dune. I think are all on DVD.
Yeah, I thought those were really good.
Miniseries.
Yeah, I think miniseries might be the way to go instead of trying to do like these 8 episodes. Or make them as long as they need to be. That's really the key. Instead of just like trying to get 8 episodes. Like if it needs to be 3, if it works in 3, go 3. If it needs to be 12, go 12. I think they're trying to fit themselves into these boxes that they don't need to, because you have streaming where you can do whatever you want and whatever works. But anyway, I think that's going to be all we got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of the top 10 watched shows on Disney Plus last year, or talk about anything else Star Wars. And so, until next time, thanks for watching.